Prepare for any situation with a survival bag list. Anyone can purchase a survival kit from a camping or outdoor store, but what's included in a personal survival bag list may be different for everybody. A survival bag's inventory for a single male living on his own should be completely different than one for a family of 4 with a dog and an elderly grandmother. The experienced and knowledgeable resources behind Absolute Rights have released a special report to address this matter entitled Get Out of Dodge. In it, readers will find all the necessary information on protecting the safety and well-being of themselves and their loved ones. It grants those who absorb its knowledge the ever-important skill of situational awareness. As an example of what can happen in an emergency, even with a day's notice, take a look at this CNN News article from 2005, shortly after Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. The reporter writes about the confusion that hit before the storm even made landfall and the lack of dependable federal assistance that hampered people's survival chances. After the potential of the hurricane was fully realized, New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin issued mandatory evacuation, but many residents were forced to wait out the storm in the Superdome football stadium. The article mentioned the state of affairs inside the stadium. The Superdome, designed to hold more than 70,000 football fans for a few hours, was not meant to house thousands of people for days, the report said. It quickly lost power, air conditioning, and water when the storm hit on the 29th, and Katrina's powerful winds ripped chunks from its roof. Toilets overflowed, garbage piled up, and evacuees were terrorized by looting and lawlessness and rumors that children were being raped and killed. What made matters worse was the state of preparedness evacuees arrived at the stadium in. Nagin told people to bring enough supplies for several days, but some of the people who crowded into the dome and the neighboring convention center didn't even arrive with their shoes, the article said. Had those people been prepared, they would have created and perfected their survival bags and determined the most crucial items to be included. They would have known that flood and hurricane disasters were the most likely disasters to hit the area and packed their survival bags accordingly. They would have avoided the deer in the headlights effect and allowed their instincts to take over. Those instincts are only developed with practice, thought, and execution. Get Out of Dodge encourages all those things and covers more than just the contents of a survival bag. It addresses a multitude of different situations with specific instructions and tips for each. Fundamentally, a store-bought survival kit contains enough for the average person and can be completely adequate in desperate times. But what isn't included in that kit could mean the difference between survival and death. For instance, medication for people with health conditions is a necessity. The report suggests stocking up on required medications, as well as making copies of health insurance documents and medical histories. These can be of the utmost importance. Other secondary items that can sometimes be overlooked when making a survival bag list are identification documents. When people think of packing and preparation, it's their natural tendency to choose survival items and ignore documents. However, if evacuation becomes necessary, then the cards, forms, and papers that prove a person's identity become just as important as food and water. Knowing what is worth putting in a survival bag and what will simply take up space is a product of practice and preparation. When the time comes, it is beneficial to have the peace of mind a survival bag can reward, allowing people to then focus on the communication and meeting plans that help keep loved ones together during disasters and evacuations. Overall, packing a survival bag should be second nature, and Get Out of Dodge makes that a reality. Not only does the report mention the best method for preparing one, it also provides pertinent information that everyone needs to know about emergency scenarios. Get the most out of preparation tactics and create the preeminent survival bag list with Absolute Rights Report by downloading a copy now from www.bugoutreport.com.